Hello soulmates, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Loveit. If today is the first time I've seen my channel, thank you for stopping by. In today's tutorial, I will be showing you how to cut and sew this simple BUBU gown with a V neckline design made with Ashoke. If this is what you're interested in learning, keep watching and let's get into the tutorial. I'll be working with 4 yards of Ankara fabric and a row of this Ashoke material. I'll just cut out what I need from the Ashoke. So I'm going to be folding my Ankara into two this way, making sure that the sleeve edge aligns together just like so. Okay, this place that they roll something, this hand place here, making sure they're aligned together. So that's the way you're going to be folding your fabric into two. So I'm going to be ruling a straight line from this top, which is going to be serving as my starting point. From that point, you just measure your shoulder to your full length plus your hemming allowance. You cut it off and fold another material for the back. One will be for the front and one will be for the back. So from here, I'm going to be marking my shoulder measurement divided by 2, which is 8 inches. So from that 8 inches, I will mark my sleeve length of 9 inches. So for the wideness of the neckline, I'm going to be using 3 inches for the neck width, and for the neck depth of the back, I'll be using 1.5 inches. I'll connect the markings with a curve just like so. For the neck depth of the front, I'll be working with 7 inches. From the starting point, I'll mark 7 inches. I'll use my ruler to connect the markings together. On the sleeve length, I'm going to be coming down 1 inches from the starting point, and I will connect with a slant line to the neck width just like so. From this point, I'm going to be coming down 9 inches for my sleeve opening. I'll place my tape on the starting point and measure what I have there, which is 10 inches. I'll take it to the other side and mark 10 inches as well. Then I'll connect the markings with a straight line. So now I'm going to be using the bigger part of my body measurement, which is my hip. If your bust is bigger than your hip, use your bust measurement. So for me, I'm using my hip. My hip divided by 4 will give me 11 inches. So I'm going to be adding 2.5 inches, 2 inches for ease and 1/2 inch for seam allowance. So I'm just going to mark that there. Then I'll mark it all the way down to the hem of my dress. If you have watched up to this point, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Turn on your notification bell so whenever I drop a new tutorial, you'll be notified. Like, comment, and share this video. Now back to the tutorial. Now I'm going to be connecting the markings with a straight line just like so. From the top of my fabric, I'm going to measure what I have from the center front to my sleeve length. I have 17 inches there, so I'm going to also mark that 17 inches at this line and connect with a straight line just like so. Okay. Now I'm just going to curve this inward into the straight line here, right, for my sleeve open. I'm going to be adding 1/2 inch seam allowance into that line so I don't have a shortage when I stitch it up. Now that is it for this part. For the pocket of this dress, I'm going to be measuring from this starting point. I'll be marking 18 inches just like so. Then from that 18 inches, I will mark 8 inches for the pocket opening. Then I will connect with a curve. I'm going to place my hand this way and connect with a curve. Okay, so this is how I'm going to be doing it. Then I'll connect it with a round curve all the way and stop at that 8 inches. Now I'm going to be cutting out my back neckline just like so, and I'll be adding 1/2 inch seam allowance on my shoulder line just like so. I'll connect the seam allowance with a slant line, then I'll cut it off. Then after which, I'm going to be cutting out the pattern of the dress and separate the front from the back. So here I'm going to be separating the front from the back so I can cut off the front neckline. So for the facing, I folded a piece of fabric this way and I'm going to be placing the center front of my front neckline this way, okay, and I'll cut out the same shape. For the shoulder of my facing, I'll use 5 inches. You can decide what you want to use for yours, okay, and also for the length I'll use 5 inches, and I'll connect it this way and cut it out. Now I'm going to place it on the front of the dress, front side facing front side, and I will take it to my sewing machine and stitch it up. After stitching it, I'll also top stitch on it. For the back, I'm also going to fold a piece of fabric into two this way. Then I'll place the back dress on it and cut out the neckline. After that, I'll bring the front facing and place it so I can cut out the shoulder the same way I did for the front. Okay, so the shoulder of the back and the front should be the same measurement. So I'm just going to trace that out and cut it. You can decide the length you want to use for the back facing. So I'll place the facing of the back to the dress, front side facing front side. I'll stitch it up and top stitch on it. Here I'm done stitching up the front neckline and top stitching on it, and this is what it looks like. Now I've also gone ahead to use hemming gum to hem it down so it can stay in place, and I also did the same thing for the back of the dress. Now moving on to the next step of the dress, which is to cut the ashoke. First thing I'm going to do is to fold my dress, the front of my dress, into two this way, and I will use my iron to iron out the middle line, okay, so it can be visible. Make sure you place your dress equally. Now this is the ashoke I'm working with. I'm going to be folding it into two this way, okay. Then I will place my dress on the ashoke. Make sure they are aligning. Make sure your dress is aligning. So I'm going to place it this way. This is the neckline. I place it this way. Then I will use my chalk to mark out 1/2 inch stitching allowance, okay. Then I'm going to be cutting it out. Chalk it out this way, okay. So this line that I'm chalking out is where I'm going to start my stitches from. All right, so I'm just going to stitch on top of that line. Here I'm done stitching it, and this is what it looks like. All right, so this is the V shape. Everything is aligning together, as you can see. I'm just going to be cutting out the excess at the hem of the V neck, just like so, okay. You can see there are some excesses that is shooting out, so I'm going to be cutting that off so it will not be showing when I join the ashoke to the main dress. Now I'm going to be bringing my dress, okay. This is the middle line, as you can see, is showing. Make sure it's showing. Use your iron to iron it out. Now I'm going to be placing the middle point of this V-neck ashoke on it this way, making sure the center is meeting the center of the dress. Okay, now I'm going to be pinning it round, and I'll take it to my sewing machine and use the matching thread to stitch it down to the dress. Now I'm going to be bringing the back of the dress, and I'm going to place it this way, front side facing front side, shoulder meeting each other this way, and I will stitch on 1/2 inch seam allowance that I put, okay. So I'm going to stitch on the shoulder this way, and I repeat the same thing for the other side. Here I'm done stitching it, and I've also overlocked all the edges of my dress, okay. So now I'm just going to be placing this ashoke this way, and I will stitch on top of it. I've already overlocked the edge of my sleeve, okay. So I'm just going to stitch the ashoke on top of it with a matching thread. Here I'm done stitching it, and I've also repeated the same thing at the other side, and this is what it looks like. So the next thing now to do is to just stitch on 1/2 inch seam allowance that I added for the seam allowance. So from the sleeve here, I'm going to stitch 1/2 inch all the way to the hem. Then the hem, I'm going to be folding the hem. You can decide to put slits on yours, but I'm not going to be putting slits on mine, but you can decide to put slits on yours if you want. So I'm just going to fold the hem that way, and that is it for this tutorial. So this is what the dress looks like. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell, so whenever I drop a new tutorial you'll be notified. Like, comment and share this video. Hope this video was helpful. Thanks, and see you in my next tutorial. Bye for now.